It's Filter Free Friday, y'all, and I want to talk about can people change for the better? You know, in the last couple months, there was a question that I asked on Facebook, and it was, when was the last time you cried? And it was the post that got the most interaction of any of the posts that I had posted. And at first, I was a little intrigued, and then after a little bit of reflection, I realized that I love that. And I loved it mostly because it has proven that I have become a far more empathetic person than I ever could have imagined. And I think that that's a good thing. And that change has specifically come because of two things that have happened to me in the month of July. On July 3rd, I buried my mother. And on July 26th, which is my birthday, it was the day my dad died. And a week later, still in July, was the day that I buried my father. And I think both of those events together have created a person who is able to see people and see people differently. And I think that's a really good thing. But it also caused me to think about can people in general change for the better? And I used to think the answer was no. You know, when I would make decisions, would always be incredibly logical and reasonable and would try as best possible not to put myself in other people's situations and wonder what I would do if it were me. I would try to figure out what would I do if I were not intimately involved at all. How could I be very critical in my decision making and decide after poking holes in an argument what would be best for the most number of people. And today I know that I can think very clearly about what's best for everyone. And it was hard for me to even say it because I think sometimes we can't find a solution that's best for everyone because we can't even imagine asking the question. You know, in today's environment, what we know from social scientists is that whenever someone sees an idea or a thought in a negative way, it's really hard for them to transition it and put it into a positive. But we have the ability to overcome our natural tendencies. And I've said it in another Filter Free Friday, and I'm going to say it here again. Yesterday was the 4th of July. And I brought up for us that the 4th of July for people who were black in this country was not a day of independence, but actually a day of slavery. And I wasn't bringing it up so that we wouldn't celebrate, because one of the best forms of freedom is the ability to celebrate and be joyous. I was bringing it up so that we would know what we are celebrating and why and from whence we've come. But I want to bring up again, because of what happened yesterday, I noticed that almost all black and brown people on my feed were bringing up what the 4th of July meant for the slave, and almost all of my white colleagues were just eating burgers and barbecuing and wearing red, white, and blue. Here's what I know for sure. All things can be true. We can make everyone happy. And here's how. I want you to get in the practice of writing down what you're grateful for. As we increase information, that is not the way to help people change. In fact, I can give you more information about all kinds of things and it's not going to change your behavior. We know that. But what will change your behavior is the ability to look at loss and say to yourself, how can I change this loss into something positive? And so as I listened to all the people on my feed express all the reasons in which they cried, for me, what was beautiful that day was my ability to just sit with people and say, I hear you and I see you. And I hope that my asking the question that day helped someone who might have been thinking that that day was the day that they should end it all to decide to stay here with us and help make this world a better place to live. And so what does that mean for you? Two things. Understand that information is power, but information doesn't change behavior. And two, understand that people can change, but change does not happen at the result of more information. Change happens on a positive because we invite people to train their minds to see things that could once be negative and shift them to a positive. And how do you do that? By expressing gratitude. Make a habit of writing down all the things you're grateful for, even for the things that you don't like. While we're looking upon this presidential election, be careful about looking at things people did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago and holding them to account for those things. If they don't have a way to express how they've changed, then absolutely yes. But if once they share how they've changed, you see how they've started to make amends, you still hold them to account to what they did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, we've not built our ability and addressed our worked our muscles to help people actually change for the better. I will ask you again, what good is change if I'm still going to get treated poorly? So yes, people can change for the better. And when people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. I love Dr. Maya Angelou. And I think also, as people show us something differently the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth time, that we give them credit for that. That's the way we help people change for the better. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all, and we've got work to do.